This story opens like a bad joke. A man walks into a lawyer's office and he says, "I'd like to sue the United States government." And the lawyer says, "On what grounds?" And that's when the man looks that attorney dead in the eye, dead serious, and says, "On the grounds that I'm the guy who runs the whole thing." And that's not a bad attorney joke. That is the actual structure of what the dictator-in-chief Donald Trump's latest grift looks like. And before I tell you about this lawsuit, I want to give you the backdrop. Wall Street is sweating. Americans like you and me, we're choking on our gas prices. And our president has decided that now is the moment to sue, essentially, himself for $10 billion on behalf of, you guessed it, himself. Now, we've talked about this story before when we thought it was just one of Trump's crazy plans that really wouldn't go anywhere. But I really need you guys to hear this out because it is so brazen that you have to slow down or you will miss the entire magic trick here. Look, in January, Donald Trump and his two sons and the entire Trump organization filed a $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS and the Treasury Department. The problem is that's the same IRS and Treasury that you know reports to Donald Trump. And look, back in his first term, an IRS contractor named Charles Littlejohn stole the tax records and leaked it. That guy ended up in prison, and the leak revealed exactly what we already knew. That Donald Trump, the guy who built his entire brand on being a tycoon, essentially paid no federal income tax for years, and his claims about his money didn't exactly match the books. So in this case, Trump technically is a victim of a leak. Fine. The law says he can sue. And there was a previous case that we could look at to compare this. The billionaire Ken Griffin essentially leaked the same way, and he sued. What did Ken Griffin get? An apology. No money. Because that's normally how this goes when you have a billionaire suing the government. But in this case, Donald Trump is asking for $10 billion. And the newest reports are coming out this week saying that Trump's DOJ, who again is run by an acting AG who is Trump's personal loyalist and, frankly, still his personal attorney. And that DOJ is right now, as we speak, holding internal discussions about whether to settle this case. The case against itself on behalf of everyone's boss. I don't want to do a little math problem with you real quick. What does this mean? What does this $10 billion mean? Let's say there's roughly 100 million Americans who are paying federal income tax. That is about $100 out of each and every American taxpayer's pocket. That's $200 a couple. Straight to Mar-a-Lago, better yet. And Trump's defense here is he says he's going to give it all to charity. Charity. That guy, whose previous charity got him sued by the state of New York for using it to pay his business debts and his political contributions and buy himself oil paintings of himself. Greed is good, Donald. You don't even have to dress it up. Even if this money went to charity, you know that it would be a hand-picked one, run by a Trump loyalist that will end up doing a favor for Trump himself.
But no, I devote 100% of my salary to different things, but I like White House preservation.
I mean, even bad 80s movies didn't have plots this stupid. The president suing himself, picking the lawyers on both sides, and then settling the lawsuit with himself, where he gets to pocket a chunk of a number that's bigger than the GDP of 40 or so countries out there. And Trump, to defend himself, says, it's for the kids, it's for the orphans, it's for charity. It is such an obvious grift that even Don the Con's allies can barely even run interference here. If you read the amicus brief, the friend of the court briefing filed against him, it was signed by former IRS officials and former DOJ officials from both parties. And they literally wrote that, quote, the conflicts of interest make it uncertain whether the Department of Justice will zealously defend the public treasury. The DOJ is supposed to be fighting on behalf of the IRS, yet they're being directed by the man who is suing them. That is the legal community here saying, in their politest language, we cannot believe that we have to write a letter about this, about a sitting president. And think about how this looks. I already talked about this. You and I are struggling financially. And the numbers back it up. Tuesday, the consumer price index dropped. Inflation jumped to 3.8% annually. It's the highest since 2023. Gasoline up 28% year over year. Beef up almost 15%. And then on Wednesday morning, the wholesale price index dropped and the wholesale inflation went up 6%, the biggest jump since 2022. That means more financial strain is coming for consumers like us in the next month. And we're not making any more money. Real wages are down. For the first time in 3 years, this inflation is eating up all of the wage gains. Americans are working harder, making more on paper, and going backwards. Forget it, Jake. It's Trump Town. Now compare that to a clip of the con-mander-in-chief asked Tuesday, before he flew to China, whether Americans' financial pain is motivating him at all. Watch this clip.
To what extent are Americans' financial situations motivating you to make a deal?
Not even a little bit. The only thing that matters when I'm talking about Iran, they can't have a nuclear weapon. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I think about one thing. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. That's all. That's the only thing that motivates me.
Not even a little bit. I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody. I don't think about anybody. What, Donald? Has our relationship gone stale? Are you not even trying to lie to us anymore? Do you not even care about gaslighting us at this point? Because that used to be the entire foundation of your pitch. And now you can't even be bothered with that. Donald Trump doesn't think about Americans' financial situations when he's negotiating with Iran, the very thing that has put us in that financial situation. But he is rapidly thinking about his own financial situation while he sues his own government for $10 billion of our dollars, while inflation's at a 3-year high. He is not hiding it anymore. Donald Trump has so much contempt for us that he's performing the theft in front of us, in public, in the open. And look, Elizabeth Warren, she's got a bill to ban this. Senator Wyden has a bill to tax any payout at 100%. A House Democrat, Don Bayer, called it the largest single act of grand larceny in American history. And he is not wrong. Donald Trump is fleecing us. And we need you to subscribe to this video. We really do. Because hopefully someone in the Senate will see this. And if they do, maybe, just maybe, they'll actually do something about it.